Alvar Emberemanar Jiyar Thirudigade Sharanam, Jiyar Thirudigade Sharanam. Welcome to our bOdhayantha parasparam program. We take up some important aspects related to our Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam and we discuss a little bit deeply into the particular topic. Recently, we did a program on dhEvathAnthara bhajanam, that is worshipping other devatas in Tamil. Seeing that a few viewers and some members of our YouTube channel have requested us to do the same program in English so that it will be beneficial for non-Tamil speaking Sri Vaishnavas. So we are going to attempt to do the same. We have Kannan Swami here. He is going to pose some questions on this topic. It's going to be very much along the same lines as we did in the Tamil program. So let's start with the program. First, you can ask your question, Kannan Swami.
Adiyan Swami, thanks for this opportunity, and it would be beneficial to the non-Tamil speaking audience as well, so that Devari has agreed to have the session recorded in English as well. So thanks again on behalf of all our Sri Vaishnava community followers in our YouTube channel. Swami, before we talk about the topic of dhEvathAnthara Bhajanam, it would be very beneficial, in Adiyan's opinion, if Swami can define what the term devatantharam means, because there might be people who are new to our sampradayam or may not have had the opportunity to have close interaction with acharyas or the greats of our sampradayam, so they might not know the term devatantharam. And what should be the relationship as far as Sri Vaishnava is concerned, someone who has undergone Sramashayanam or in the process of that, what should be their consideration or relationship with Devatantharam? If Devari can start with that, that would be highly beneficial.
Sure. Devatantharam is a word which has two parts, Devata and Antaram. So, Devata is Bhagavan. He is the supreme Devata, he is the real Devata. Deva is one who is worshipable. And Bhagavan Sriman Narayana is the supremely worshipable deity. Anyone other than Sriman Narayana would be considered as Devatantaram. For example, in Sanatana Dharma, we see there are many Devatas, such as Brahma, Rudra, Indra, Varuna, Chandra, Surya. So many Devatas are there. So each one will be considered as Devatantaram. So in our Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam, one of the important aspects for a Sri Vaishnava is to be an exclusive worshipper of Sriman Narayana. Tirumazhi Alvar explains this concept in his Nanmugan Tiruvandadi. He says Sri Vaishnavas are those who will not worship anyone other than Sriman Narayana. So that is the primary definition of Sri Vaishnava. So if a person worships Sriman Narayana and also other Devata, then that person cannot be said to be Sri Vaishnava according to the definition of our Alvars and Acharyas. So this is the main aspect for us to understand in the beginning. In the north, usually they say Devi Devatas. That is the term which is used to identify other Devatas. So these devatas can be anyone other than Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. Now, as far as Sri
Yes, Miss Swami.
Vaishnavas, as far as Sri Vaishnavas are concerned, as we have said, their only connection should be with Sriman Narayana, and they should not have any connection with other devatas. So, as far as relationship goes, our only worshipable Lord is Sriman Narayana only.
Dhanyos, Miss Swami. Swami, this question or a set of questions that we have subsequent to this arise from sometimes because Sri Vaishnavas, because of their unique position, uh, not only in terms of other religions but also in Sanatana Dharma, they might be facing these questions. So the attempt here is to get answers to the questions that might arise by others who don't necessarily fully understand our sampradayam. They might be part of our sampradayam or they might be um, outside the sampradayam, but a lot of these questions arise. So Adian would request Devri to clarify on these so that other Shiva Vaishnavas, when posed with these questions, can have a clarity on how to respond to that. So a question that very commonly arises is that even as a Shiva Vaishnava, when you say that you worship only Sriman Narayana, there are other devatas even in your temples like Chakratarmar or Sudarshana. There is, of course, other devatas who are there, like Vishwakshena. You also worship Acharya Purushas, Alvars. So when that is possible, why is it that Rudran or Brahma, etc., all are excluded as far as you are concerned? Isn't it an anomaly? So what is the criteria in excluding or including someone as devatantara?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question because it's very, very fundamental to proceed. We should have this clarity first so that we can proceed further. Certainly, when we say we worship only Sriman Narayana, we don't only worship Sriman Narayana. Actually, we worship Sri Mahalakshmi, Sri Bhumi Devi, Sri Neela Devi, and then we worship Nitya Suris like Ananta, Garuda, Vishwaksena, Sudarshana Chakra, all of these personalities. We also worship Alvars, we worship Acharyas. So in fact, we treat all of them at par with Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. So, for example, if we have Utsavam for Bhagavan Sriman Narayana, Vishnu, we have similarly Utsavams for Lakshmi Tayar. We have Utsavam for Andal Nachiyar, who is Bhumi Devi's incarnation. We have Utsavams for Nammalvar. We have Utsavams for Garudalvar in some Divideshams. So we do treat all of these personalities at par with Bhagavan. In fact, in some cases, we even glorify them more than Bhagavan. So the criteria here is they are all exclusively devoted to Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. So that is the first point. So they don't have Anya Bhakti. They have pure Ananya Bhakti. So they have total devotion towards Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. So that is the first criteria. And all of them are also situated in Sattva Gunam at all times. So in our Dharma, in our Sanatana Dharma, it's often cited in many places, quoted in many places, Sattvam, Rajas, and Tamas, these three qualities. So whoever has Sattva Guna, they are respectable, they are very venerable. That is why we see the sages, the saints, they were all respected because they were all in Sattva Gunam. When there is Sattva Gunam, there is clarity of thought, there is pure devotion, total detachment from worldly aspects, total detachment for fame, name, wealth, all of these. So these qualities define a person who is in Sattva Gunam. So all of these personalities, whether it is Tayar, Sri Mahalakshmi, Andal Nachiyar, Sri Bhumi Devi, Godama, or whether it is Alvars, Acharyas, they are all in this full Sattva Guna. So these two qualities are the main criteria for us to worship a personality. If you look at devatas, other devatas like Brahma, Rudra, Indra, Varuna, Surya, Chandra, all of them, they are all established by Bhagavan himself in this world. So in each of these under this Brahmanda, there are crores and crores of Brahmandas in this Leela Vibhuti, that is our samsara. And in each of those Brahmandas, there is one Brahma, there is one Rudra, there is Surya, there is Chandra, there is Indra, Varuna, Agni, Vayu, all of these devatas. They are all like posts. So each one has that position which is acquired by their own karma. They have worked hard, they have performed good pious deeds, and they have gone up to those positions based on the grace of Bhagavan also, because Bhagavan has given them that position based on their karma. So they are all working within the boundary of Sattvam, Rajas, Tamas. So when they are in pious mood, when they are in good mood, they will be worshipping Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. Naturally, all devatas, they are all worshippers of Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. Now the devotees of those devatas may not worship Sriman Narayana, but all of those devatas will be worshipping Sriman Narayana because they all know that he is the supreme Bhagavan and he is the one who has given them that position also. So they will be having devotion towards him when they are in Sattva Gunam. But when they are in Rajo Gunam and Tamo Gunam, they at times fight against Bhagavan. They at times behave passionately. They do certain acts which are not acceptable as good behavior in society and so on. So when they are doing these acts, we have to be careful not to be influenced by those acts, because whoever we interact with, whoever we worship, we may get those qualities from those personalities. So that is why Shastram says those who are in those who are aspiring for Sattva Gunam, such persons will be worshipping Sriman Narayana and his pure devotees who are always in Sattva Gunam. So when these devatas are not in Sattva Gunam sometimes, if you worship them, then those qualities may come to us. Hence, we avoid worshipping those devatas. And also, being a pure devotee of Sriman Narayana, Alvars and Acharyas, they will guide us only towards Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. So we can confidently go and worship them. They will never say, you worship me alone or you worship somebody else other than Sriman Narayana. So they will not say. Because of these aspects, we are only worshipping Sriman Narayana and those who are very dear. These Alvars, Acharyas, his divine consorts, they are all very dear to him. In fact, Bhagavan himself says, you worship my pure devotees. So because of these aspects, these facts, we worship Sriman Narayana and his pure devotees, but not other devatas.
Yes, Swami. So it is understood when we, as Sri Vaishnavas, get initiated into the Sampradayam. Even our Acharya Purushas say, now you avoid going to Devathantara temples. You focus exclusively on worship of Sriman Narayana and the followers of exclusive followers of Sriman Narayana. But then a question arises: okay, I avoid going to Devathantara temples, but what do I do? For example, when on the street corners there are bhajans or some activities happening for Devatantharam, there might be some concert which I go to where other devatas are praised, isn't it possible that should I exclude myself from that as well, or is it something that we can consider as some people raise this question that when we can indulge in some laukika activities like we can watch some entertainment and all, this is after all part of our rich dharma. How can we avoid and withdraw from these activities? So if Devri can clarify a bit on that.
Sure. First of all, as a Sri Vaishnava, we should not go to concerts, we should not go to like Laukika concerts and Laukika activities because then it defeats the purpose. Being a Sri Vaishnava, we should be fully engaged in Bhagavan Sriman Narayana um, and his matters only. But let's say, unfortunately, we have to work, we have to earn some money, so we are going to office. We have to limit our time in office according to what is the need. We should not overindulge in it. So that is first point. So now, when we are in um, such places, let's say we are walking on the street, some procession happens of another devata. So this is asked. So we don't go to their temples, but let's say if they come across us, should we worship them? Should we offer obeisances and so on? For that, our acharyas say that we should not, because whether we go to their temple or they come to us, we have to treat the devatantarams like that only. We can easily understand, like many people will say, oh, but now we salute, let's say, our manager, we salute our friend, we salute our boss. Why not we salute a devata because of their position? No, actually, we shouldn't be doing that as well, because we are doing one thing which is wrong. It doesn't mean that we should do another wrong thing. Two wrongs doesn't make things correct. So there is the concept of just wishing someone, and there is a concept of worshipping someone. So if devatas come across us, we cross them. We need not worship them, and we can easily understand. There are so many people we pass by every day on the street. We don't go around and worshipping everyone, offer obeisances to everyone. Even they may be elders, they may be even reputed personalities in the society. We don't go around worshipping everyone. So, as far as philosophy is concerned, we should only worship Sriman Narayana and his pure devotees, not anyone else. So, even if some person may be very, very powerful in the world, maybe he is the president of United States, we don't go and worship that person. So, the concept of reverence and worshipping, that is only for Bhagavan and Bhagavatas. Bhagavatas are the pure devotees of Bhagavan, not for anyone else.
And you, Swami. So another question.
And that doesn't mean that we are disrespecting them also. Like we shouldn't go and disrespect anyone, whether it is an individual, a person, a man, woman, or whoever it is, or any devata. We don't go and disrespect anyone. And but we also need not go overboard and show undue respect towards them.
Well, thanks for clarifying, because this is often a question asked. The other thing that might be used as an argument, and it's unfortunate that sometimes we have to argue with our own Sampradaya people. The argument might be raised that you say, okay, we'll worship Parivar Devatas of Sriman Narayana, as we say, but isn't it a fact that Brahma is the son of, in Puranam, it is said Brahma, Rudra, they are all sons and grandsons respectively of Emperuman. Why don't we respect them? There are a lot of Puranic and Shastric words talking about mentioning Brahma and Rudran as Vaishnavas. So they are also Vaishnavas. There are other Vaishnava Sampradayams which also worship these Devatas. So how come only Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam talks about exclusive worship of Sriman Narayana? What is the underlying philosophy behind that? If Libri can elaborate on that, there might be a lot of people who might not even be aware of the underlying reason why we are different from other Vaishnava Sampradayam?
Yeah. This is also often asked, and we have also answered this question previously in our Q&A session also, but just to clarify briefly, see, there are different Puranas and Ithihasas and in different sections of this literature, Brahma and Rudra especially are praised as Vaishnavas, as best Vaishnavas sometimes. But those are based on the particular situation where they behaved like a Vaishnava in a particular situation. So even though they are glorified in one place, they are also um, treated otherwise in other places. Like in other places where in Shastram it says that one should not worship anyone other than Sriman Narayana. If one is focused on moksham, one is focused on um, being free from this samsara, one should worship only Sri Vaishnava, Sriman Narayana. So that is also found in Shastram. So we have to see both sides of Shastram. So the purport here, the essence here is the devatas are glorified when they are showing their pure devotion to Sriman Narayana. At the same time, when they are not being devoted to Sriman Narayana, they are also at times not respected the same way they were respected before because they are disrespecting Sriman Narayana. The very popular incidents from Krishna Avataram where Brahma steals the cows and the cowherd boys out of jealousy towards Krishna. And then there is Rudra coming and fighting with Krishna while supporting Manasura. So these incidents, they show that they get bewildered at times. Some of them may be treated as leelas, but still they misunderstand Bhagavan and they come and seek forgiveness subsequently. But they repeat the same mistake at different times. This is why we say that because they are not in the same state of mind at all times, they are not to be worshipped.
Then yes, that is very helpful in clarifying to others if the question comes up. Another question or another situation that might come up, there is now a trend where people say for the unity of Sanatana Dharma, you need to consider the fact that ultimately there are other people who might be attacking our Dharma, or we need to be united in that. So in that case, when you exclusively focus on one Devata, that is Sriman Narayana, you are kind of diluting the unity. Your Sampradayam needs to be more broad-minded. Well, IDN doesn't agree with these words, but these words do get put up. So if Devari can clarify, that would help others who might have doubts on this. So.
Sure. See, the Sanatana Dharma as a whole does need to be upheld by all of us. And we need to support each other when there is essential need, certainly. But that doesn't mean that we give up our foundational philosophy. There are certain principles. If you go to a person who is a staunch follower of Rudra, he will not accept all the principles of Vaishnavas. Similarly, if you go and ask a worshipper of Durga, he will not accept to and subscribe to all our principles, all our philosophy. So the Sanatana Dharma being the overall umbrella, and where we have to work together, we do have to work together certainly, and we have to help each other. But for that, we cannot go and show our respect by worshipping other devatas and so on, because that is not the only way to show our unity. There are many times we see even in the lives of our Purvacharyas where there have been mutual favoring and helping between different sampradayams. But that doesn't mean that we go and worship their devatas. So that is the principle to understand. We shouldn't disrespect unnecessarily anyone. We shouldn't unnecessarily badmouth anyone. But when we have to speak about the facts, we have to put out the facts. So supremacy of Bhagavan Sriman Narayana, we have to, as Vaishnavas, we will only talk about that. So when we say Bhagavan is so, Sriman Narayana is supreme, that doesn't mean that means that someone is not supreme. But that doesn't mean it's a disrespect to them. It is just stating our position according to Vedam, Shastram, and what many itihasas, many Puranas have shown these principles. So there is a thin line. We have to be careful. While we should lend our support to others, we shouldn't go and worship other devatas.
Thank you, Swami. Another set of questions that might arise is that now, when as a Trivarnika, if someone who is born into one of the three Varnas, they learn Vedam, they have to learn Vedam. In Vedams, we see a lot of suktams for devatantharam. Even the other argument that might be rolled in is when we see Itihasam, Mahabharata, Ramayanam, and all, there are glories mentioned of other devatas. In those cases, okay, it is acceptable that we don't go to other devata temples, but why is it that refraining from listening or being part of some devatantara bhajanam, is that also not right? Because it doesn't tally up to the fact that our Vedam, even our Itihasam, they all have references to other devatas, they praise other devatas. So we can go carry along the same spirit, and maybe if there is a bhajanam going along, we can just be part of it. That is an argument that might be raised. So if Devri can clarify on that.
Yeah, see, this is a very good point. I'd say it's a very logical question also, that why we worship devatas in Vedam or through Vedic rituals, but not otherwise. Actually, this question was asked to Nambillai, Lokacharya, during his times by some devotees. They were asking, you are going and performing Sandhya Vandanam, you are performing Vaidika Yagyas and so on, whenever it is needed. We don't do overboard, but whatever is as part of our Nitya Karma, whatever is part of temple Kainkaryam, we recite Upanishads, we recite Vedam, we recite these Itihasams, Puranams, whatever slokams which are relevant. There you see some devatas being praised, you accept that, but why don't you worship a devata in its own temple? So that question was asked him, and he explained actually, as per Bhagavan's order, as per his commandment, we means here Trivarnikas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. We have to learn Vedam, we have to do our Nitya Karma Anushtanam, such as Sandhya Vandanam. Even though Indra, Varuna, Surya, they are all praised in these Vaidika rituals. It is part of Bhagavan's commandment that as per our Varna Dharma, we have to perform these activities. So we obey his order. And when we worship through these Vaidika rituals, worship Bhagavan, we are actually seeing him as the Antaryami of all the Devatas. So this Antaryamitvam is the key here. So when we worship Indra in a particular yajna or a particular ritual, we don't really worship Indra, but really Indra's Antaryami is Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. We are worshipping him through Indra. And because it is said in Shastram, it has to be done, we are doing it. Otherwise, we won't do it. But there is no certain such rule for going and worshipping other devatas in temples. In fact, we have the other way around, where Bhagavan himself says in Bhagavad Gita that only those who are hankering for lowly benefits will worship other devatas. Those who are seeking liberation, eternal kaikaryam, will only worship me. So he is specifically mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, and it is not just Bhagavad Gita, because if we say Bhagavad Gita, then somebody may say it was spoken by Krishna, he will only say that worship me, not somebody else. Even if you look at other literature, other shastrams, there also similar principles are explained. So we go by shastram, and Nambille explains with an example also. We have fire in our kitchen. Let's say we have to start a yajna at home. In those days, they will say, go bring fire from the kitchen, because wooden stove will be there and there will be fire always going. So we'll take fire from the kitchen and we'll put it in the yajna and start the yajna. There is also fire in cremation ground. We don't go and take fire from there. Even though fire is same, we don't take it from cremation ground. It's just an example. We have to see it as an example. Similarly, Bhagavan is Antaryami for Devatas in Vaidika rituals. Bhagavan is Antaryami for Devatas even in their temples. But when they establish those temples, they don't establish those Devatas as someone who is having Bhagavan as Antaryami. Rather, they do it as just their own temple as per their own agama. So the intent is different. In temples, the intent is to worship just that devata. But the intent in Vaidika rituals is to worship Bhagavan through these devatas. So that is the difference, which is shown by Nambillai with this example. Though fire is same, we only take it from our kitchen. Similarly, so though the devatas are same and Bhagavan is same, we worship Bhagavan through devatas in Vaidika rituals because it is ordained, and it is only a small part of our lifestyle also. We don't do it whole day. It is only a small part of it. But in other cases, we don't engage in any other worship. And also even bhajanas which are done, we don't engage in them because there is no specific requirement for us other than glorifying Srimad Narayana and his devotees and his dear devotees. That is what is meant for us. We have to do only such activities, glorifying Bhagavan and Bhagavatas. That is what is meant for us. So we don't need to do any other worship or any other singing or praising or glorification. In fact, it is contrary to our true nature that we engage in such activities.
Mr. Swami. So I again would like to extend Devi's answer with a question. The point about sometimes we indulge in bhajanam, and there are different mechanisms, like people learn classical music, some people use folk music, there are different forms, people use percussion instruments and all these kind of things. And the question arises, um, is it because there is an element of not only enjoyment, there's a divine bliss as well that a lot of people experience in these bhajana sessions and all. So as Sri Vaishnavas who are focused on Kaingeryam to Emperaman, how does it work out compared to other sampradayams? Maybe Vaishnava, maybe non-Vaishnava, but their bhajanam has a lot of importance. Nama Sankirtanam has a lot of importance. So a lot of people ask this question: Sri Vaishnavas, what should be our focus on bhajanam? Should we completely exclude ourselves from that, or our sampradayam allows space for that? So if Devri can elaborate on that.
Sure. See, in our sampradayam, we have Divya Prabandham, which can be sung in temples. We do have Goshti where people sing Divya Prabandham. It's not with music or anything, but it is with a mild tune. Also, there are people who sing Divya Prabandham Pasurams with music also. So that can be done. And also even general bhajanas, songs on Bhagavan can be sung as long as the meanings don't um, violate our fundamental philosophy. The meanings should fit our sampradayam principles. Then we can sing. There is nothing wrong in it. But we have pasurams, we have other stotrams which can be sung in the form of bhajans also. And also when it comes to bhajana, like our sampradayam is not a bhajana sampradayam. It is a proper sampradayam based on philosophical foundation. So we follow our Purvacharya's instructions in engaging in Divya Prabandham, Stotrams, learning the Rahasya Granthams, learning their meanings, and engaging our mind in contemplating about these principles and putting these points, putting this philosophy into practice. So this is our goal. We have to live a very dignified, we have to live very dignified life, very elegant and exemplified life. We have to be role models for the society. We have to be compassionate. We have to be very helping towards others in a spiritual way. So these are our primary objectives. So we have to work in that. As far as songs and bhajans are concerned, we can do it as kainkariam. There is nothing stopping us from doing these as kainkariams. And as long as we know the meanings of the songs, and we can ensure that they are not violating our basic philosophy.
Yes, Swami, it is very clear from the discussion so far how we as Sri Vaishnavas should conduct our lives with respect to exclusive focus on Sriman Narayana. And Adian hopes that the questions Adian raised were questions that commonly come up when other people ask Sri Vaishnavas about these aspects, and this would be helpful. Adian, I would again like to thank Devini Dhanyosmi Swami for taking your time out and helping us with understanding these principles.
Adiyan, Ramanadas.
ஆழ்வார் எம்பெருமானார் ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம் ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம்.
To learn such valuable information about our Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, please download KOYIL, KOYIL app from Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Our website is koyil.org, KOYIL.org.